Welcome back, everyone, to Creeper World 4. We're heading into the Span experiment. It's been quite a while, probably too long, since we tried out one of these. And we're going to do cheap construction, which has a twist that's a little different from what we've seen before. They don't make them like they used to, it says. And here, the big deal is the Shattered Land, which is this territory. And for those who don't remember, this is decayable terrain, so when the creeper comes in contact with it, it will gradually eat it away. And there's this strip running diagonally basically through most of the map. Then, of course, a bunch of breeder over here. The enemies, blobs, skimmers, we've got some emitters, but most of the creeper is going to come from this. And 0.15 looks like it's really weak breeder, but it has a fairly fast rate, I think, in terms of it activates more frequently than normal breeder. At least that's what my observation tends to indicate. So, got a bunch of stashes here as well. But this is going to be a different sort of challenge to take over. And then we do have a few urns. We've got basic amounts of the resources, lots of uneven terrain as well. So my starting build is pretty much staying behind this diagonal line of the Shattered Land for the most part. I want to get these towers set up. We've sort of got a hodgepodge of connections all over the place due to the elevation changes. But this is pretty isolated by this path over here, so we should be able to secure this. They'll lead partway into this, but we should be able to defend it. But trying to cross and be more aggressive is just too much that needs to happen first. Now, I am going to try to cut off this area here and keep them from some of the breeder, but most of it they're going to get, and we're just going to have to gradually recover. Now, my first build, once we get energy positive, takes about a minute and a half on this map, is going to get these three cannons up. This one's to cut off the flow of the breeder in this way. These are to defend all this temporarily. Now, you see the creepers eating into the Shattered Land here and now falling, and it can be set to different levels as far as how low the Shattered Land will get, down before it stops decaying. Well, actually, in this case, it's all the way down. So these are going to eat this all the way into void, and that does slow down the creeper as it comes, but it's not going to stop it from coming. And then, of course, you can see the land pathways emerging. And unfortunately, these aren't wide enough to put much on. So we're not going to be able to do a whole lot with most of them. So we've got a terp there. And let's get factory and urn portal on as we get going. And the rest of my frontline cannons and mortars to begin with. That'll tank our energy for a bit, but the cannon's fighting this off. And this cannon coming up. And the breeder's coming, so we're going to get you any ammo? Possibly, at some point. There we go. So that was pretty close, but we made it. We're starting to get these urns up now. And I want to take a moment here and just push you forward a bit. We should be able to now throw in, just a little bit more for our network. And I think that'll do for the moment. Oh, that sniper was a little bit too far forward. Now, we probably should activate our snipers now. Anyway, so let's go ahead and put one further back. And do that. And for the urns, I definitely want energy collection and fire rate. Sort of debated a bit between mine production and fire range, but I think I'm going to want the range. Let's go ahead and turn on our refineries. And our rocket labs. Pads, rather. Okay, fire range. Terp, you can come over here and deal with this area for the green R. And as soon as we have enough, I also want to turn on my missile launchers. Well, perhaps I should be extending this up here first. I just lost something. What did I lose? Tower right over here because this is not quite defended well enough. Let's throw up another mortar. Make sure that doesn't get too out of hand. Missile launchers on. And I do want also to throw additional mortars up here. Let's throw something like that. Now, next up, I want to really push out this way as much as I can. Come on. Oh, it was a little too early for that tower. Fine. We will clear this out. We'll get it eventually. Now, there are a few options for advancing here. I could build platforms and cross the void. I could flatten out a bunch of stuff and do, for example, you know, an airstrip. And do a bunch of bombing. But in this particular case, I think I want another sniper here. In this particular case, what I want to do is actually cross on land. I think there's just enough space to do it over this way. But before I do that, I want to secure everything else. So I'll put a couple snipers up here. And there, now you're back on. Now, my goal here is that this breeder doesn't reactivate. Like, we pound this down, and then this, it can't get into this area, and later on this area. So that we just move forward. Did I turn? Nope, supply is not on for those. Let's do that. And then I'm going to need plenty of snipers due to dealing with these skimmers and blobs. And let's be perhaps a little bit excessive in our weaponry at this stage. Okay. Time to go on the attack. Let's push forward. I really want to pay close attention to making sure that we are good at clearing out the breeder, which is why I'm using, you know, a good amount of cannons to go along with the mortars, more than I might otherwise do. Keep any of those thin layers of creeper and reactivating the breeder. And those pylons are just sort of basically a temporary thing while I put up micro rifts. Just to make sure the front line has the supplies that it will need. Okay, so now what? Sniper where? That's weird. Oh, I think maybe just enough creeper ate into that? Quite possible. Throw up another one. No big deal. Moving on. And yeah, breeder reactivating just like that is what we want to avoid. So plenty of energy now. It's just a case of executing the attack. And I want to do a few things over here. One is, I want to make sure we have missile launchers up. Then I want to have areas like this that have breeder. I want to make sure we stay back there with a cannon, because I do not want to get blindsided by painful backline incursions while we're attacking. I want to make sure we've fully secured an area, and then we move on. This over here I'm not as worried about because there's no breeder there. But I do want to advance further out here. I'm going to use towers on these narrow areas that are not accessible for anything else. Anyway... Ooh, you barely made it. But you did. So all of that should be intact. Okay. We're starting to create a little bit of area over here. We've got a couple of orbitals. I think this is probably a good time to use them. Let's get across here and take advantage of that. Let's get a decent amount of weapons in place by the time the creeper returns. Oh, let's make sure we're connecting. And here it comes. Now, I also do not want to wait any longer before I begin to throw snipers in place. And of course, the first goal here is establish a usable beachhead. Then expand it, and I'd like to get to where this stash is. And there we go. So we're just going to wait for the stunning to end. Didn't get enough snipers over fast enough, evidently. And I definitely need more. I don't think I built enough. Or else I lost track of where they are. But it never hurts to build more. We'll do that soon. Let's get a few more towers up. Alright. See what you think of those snipers. Bring over the rest of my AC. Just gradually shift. Want to make sure everything that isn't needed back here joins the attack. You're not needed here. Another sniper into the fight. Of course, I want to keep those other two back there. You're not accomplishing anything over here. Okay. Now let's push it back from this stash. Kind of crowded over here, but it won't be for long. We're going to spread outward. left to right in this view, and then there'll be plenty more going on. Let's get Micro Rift going over here now. And a missile launcher on this side. I'm going to want to utilize pylons at this point. Not mess with towers anymore. Let's see about something like that, maybe? And I think I'd like to secure that area with a damper. Got 3 of them. Now you can see the overall creeper level, it's a little bit above the max because we hit some eggs. But it stalls at about 105k. So one of the signs that we're really getting close to victory, I'm not going to do all the objectives on this one, but will be that we'll lower down that amount significantly below 100k. We're a ways from doing that yet. Reclaim, we're about 2/3. And I feel like we're in need of more weapons now. Let's make that happen. Let's move you forward. For a while here, advancing the snipers is just going to mean popping more eggs and increasing the creepers. So it's sort of a almost a 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of deal. And what I want to do, I think, is wait until after the skimmers have passed and then do a damper advance. Oh, you shush. Leave my pylons alone. Okay, looks like we did okay on those. Now let's damper and push. Use the enemy's times of pausing against them, as it were. Secure a better position so we can fight them off when they surge again. Snipers forward. And I want to put a couple over here. Let's spread out that fire. Pop, pop, pop. 50 eggs or so. We are short of connections right here. Let's see if we can survive that. And maybe this. Here come our skimmers. There goes our pylon. Just gonna wait a minute to get our stuff back. There we go. It's not going to do us that much good, but we're going to go ahead and nullify this emitter. Of course, most of the creeper just coming from the breeder, so that's not going to be too much actual impact. Some of these mortars need to come join the fun, because they're not going to have any more fun over there. We have less than a minute till the next round of skimmers. Not feeling great about our missile coverage. I think I want one more. Damper again, and let's see if we can go after this. Get a little closer to the spore. We're not quite there yet. We're almost. There's only so much that putting more over here is going to do, so I'm going to shift in this direction. We're about 90% now on the reclaim. We've only got one enemy nullified and all the totems remaining, although this one's about to be activated. Okay. Let's just see what those skimmers do. Pretty much getting shot immediately. But we're still going to get stunned here. Look at our creeper. It is now descending, which is great. Okay, I'm going to damper here. And we're going to try and finish this off. The spore launcher, that is. Let's bring forward Some more firepower. Particularly, I want a pylon forward. I want snipers up. I'd like another mortar out this way. There we go. Alright. So the egg production is down, except that it's probably going to reactivate with the skimmer. Let's see about a pylon somewhere in that area. I want to knock out that skimmer factory next. Just get a few more connections up in here. Reclaim charging. Everybody's going to get stunned. And, yep, there we go. Doggone it. Come on, give me my people back, please. Okay. We are out of orbitals, but we definitely need to get that nullifier back online. And then I also want to just build up a little bit more of a back row here. Once we can survive a surge a little better than that, then that skimmer factory is going. We just got a little bit too close to it. Reclaim charging again, because I didn't actually charge all the way. Then we got pushed back. There we go. 20 seconds. See if we do any better at it this time around. We are getting stunned again, but not as badly, and we have more support. I'm just waiting to get everything back. We're not losing like we did last time. Come on, give me my stuff back, please. There we go. Damper. Now, you have a minute. That's how long we have. I'm done playing with these skimmers. Done playing with them. We are going to move in. And we're going to try to nullify this before that hits. I don't know if I have time. But I'm certainly going to try. See how that goes. Just need to push it back a little. There we go. Oh, it's not actually clear yet. There we go. So, I think we've got time to power it up. Let's find out. We're going to get hammered by the stunning if we don't get there. There we go. So all the skimmers are down. We do have blobs yet. That would not be particularly difficult to handle. We are down to, a little over half the maximum amount of creeper and falling. So all the major challenges are done, and rather than grind through the rest of this territory, I'm going to call it at this point. Hope you've enjoyed Sheep Construction. We'll be heading back to the colonies for our next adventure.